This video examines how causal graphs represent direct and indirect causal relationships. Causal graphs use directed edges to represent direct relationships, and sequences of edges to represent indirect causal relationships. In this example, education is a direct cause of income, income is a direct cause of happiness, but education is not a direct cause of happiness. Because there is a chain of arrows from education to happiness, however, education is an indirect cause of happiness. A bit more formally, one variable is an indirect cause of another in a causal graph as long as there is a directed path from the cause to the effect. A directed path from a cause to an effect is a sequence of edges starting with the cause, ending with the effect that are oriented in the same direction. Directed paths in a causal graph are also called causal paths. Previously, we noted that direct causes are also called parents, and that direct effects are also called children. Analogously, the causes of a variable, direct or indirect, are also called ancestors, and effects of a variable, direct or indirect, are also called descendants. Here, both education and income are ancestors of happiness and of taxes. Income is a direct cause, parent, and ancestor of happiness, whereas education is an indirect cause, ancestor, but not a parent or direct cause of happiness. Income, happiness, and taxes are descendants of education. Income is a child, direct effect, and descendant of education, while happiness and taxes are not children nor direct effects of education. It's important to distinguish between an undirected path and a directed path. An undirected path between two variables is a sequence of directed edges without the requirement that all the edges point in the same direction. In this graph, for example, there is an undirected path from happiness to income to taxes, even though it isn't a directed path. The path from education to income to taxes, in contrast, is a directed path. The length of a path is just the number of edges in the path. For example, the length of the directed path from education to happiness is 2. The length of the undirected path from happiness to taxes is also 2. And if we add health as a direct cause of happiness, is there a path, undirected or directed, from health to taxes? Yes, there is an undirected path of length 3. Let's review these concepts with the causal graph involving TV, exercise, diet, and body mass index. TV is an ancestor and thus a cause of body mass index, but not a direct cause. According to this causal graph, which we do not claim truly represents the world, TV has an indirect causal influence on BMI through 2 distinct mechanisms. One mechanism is captured by the path that goes through the amount of exercise per week. Presumably TV diminishes how many exercise minutes people would do a week. And the other by the path that goes through diet. We could represent a completely different hypothesis, in which TV is not a cause of exercise at all, but is a direct cause of BMI and an indirect cause of BMI via diet. At some point, we will need to discuss how we might empirically distinguish between these hypotheses, but that is for another day. In summary, one variable x is a cause of another y, if x is a direct or an indirect cause of y. It is a direct cause only if there is an arrow from x to y, and it is an indirect cause if there is a directed path of length at least 2 from x to y. If x is a direct or indirect cause of y, then x is said to be an ancestor of y, and y a descendant of x. An undirected path between variables is a sequence of edges in which the direction of each edge does not matter. A directed path is a sequence in which all the arrows point in the same direction.